Hey, what's up guys? Thanks for stopping by the channel. So for this video, I'm going to give you a full review of the recently restocked Swiss watch company Diver. Now for those of you who aren't aware, the Swiss watch company is a family-run and independently owned micro brand. And they've had a very successful run of their dive watch. And in fact, in about a couple months' time, they're also going to be releasing a new sports model on a Kickstarter campaign. And I'll actually link to their YouTube channel in the description of this video because I think you can get more information that way, and their content is very insightful if you want to learn more about the watch manufacturing industry. So the Swiss Diver on my wrist is their blue colorway, and I will mention that they do have multiple color options for this particular diver. However, as of time for shooting this video, they've all but sold out of most models except for the green diver. Now that being said, due to their success for this watch, I'm pretty sure they're going to be making more in the future. So keep your eyes on their website if you want to purchase it. It comes in at under 500 US dollars, and at that price, you're getting an amazing Swiss-made diver with 300 meters of water resistance, insane loom, and really nice components and design features. Now before I flip perspectives and show you this watch up close, I also want to tell you guys about my purchasing experience, because I reached out to the Swiss watch company through direct message via Instagram, and their customer service was fantastic. They kept me up to date on when the restocking of this watch was going to happen, and the minute it hit their website they let me know, and I was able to pick out the exact watch that I wanted. So is this budget Swiss diver a good fit for your collection? Well, let's flip perspectives and show you the watch up close. Okay guys, so now we get to check out the watch up close. As you can see, when you purchase this watch, it not only comes with the watch head and bracelet, you also get this really nice travel case. And I'm just going to move this guy aside just to show you that really quick, because I think they did a great job with this. So it's like a soft shell travel case. You got yourself a handle right here. Opening up, you got a pouch. I put my extra links here. You have the international warranty card, and then you have a pair of spare bent spring bars. And that's if you want to swap out the bracelet for like a leather strap or a rubber band. It is unfortunate that you need bent spring bars because straight links don't really fit with the orientation to the head of the watch that well. But that's a minor gripe overall. I'll just quickly mention too, you have extra compartments here, so if you actually want to use this as a travel watch case, you can actually fit multiple watches and even some straps. And all this comes included for under 500 US dollars, which is fantastic. Okay, so let's talk about the actual watch itself. And as you can see, very nicely spec'd watch. I'll go over dimensions first because this watch does give you a bit of wrist presence. So you're looking at a 44 millimeter diameter across the case. Now flipping to the side, lug to lug here is about 49 millimeters, and then the case thickness is a very respectable 13.3 millimeters to a slightly domed sapphire crystal. And this domed sapphire crystal has 5 layers of anti-reflective treatment on the underside. And you can just see the clarity of the crystal, plus you get that nice blue hue in certain lighting conditions. Now the lug gap here for the supplied bracelet is 22 millimeters, and I will mention that the end links here do flare out a little bit past the lugs. So if you're going to measure from tip to tip this way, it balloons out to about 53 millimeters, I would say. So just keep that in mind if you have a wrist smaller than 6.5 inches. Now let's move in on this watch and talk about the dial detail. I think it's a very unique design in certain aspects, and then it does borrow some cues from other popular divers. Starting with the applied logo just below the 12 o'clock. I mean, it's a very unique logo that Swiss Watch Company has, and then you have very clean Swiss Watch Company printing below that. And then closer to the 6, you just have the words automatic and 300 atmospheres or 300 meters written above the 6 o'clock index. At the macro level, you can really appreciate just the depth in the amount of loom is applied to each of the hour indexes. And then near the 3 o'clock, you have a very clean border and cutout for the date disc. You have some very nicely polished hour and minute hands, and then you can see the nice sweep of the second hand with that loom filled triangle near the edge. And as I mentioned, this is a Swiss-made watch, so they're using an automatic Sellita SW200, which I do believe they regulate. Anecdotally, this is keeping excellent time. It's only off by about 2 seconds per day. And of course, with this movement, you're getting that nice high beat movement that ticks away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. Gives you about a 40-hour power reserve and has 26 joules. You can manually wind it, and you can hack this watch too. Another standout feature about this watch for the price point is the bezel, and I really love the design of it. It's got a ceramic insert on top, and you can see how a lot of the indexes are raised. Near the 12, you do have a very nice luminous pearl inside the triangle there, and then you have the 1 to 15 minute hash marks are these really nice ceramic pearls, and then you do have the printed 10-minute intervals around the dial. Looking to the side, you can see that the bezel has these scalloped and polished edges here, and this is very reminiscent of an Omega Seamaster. And the bezel action is really, really good actually. So you have a 120 click unidirectional bezel. The bezel is not too difficult to turn. It's a little taut, but each click is very reassuring. And once it slides in, there's zero backplay. So I did mention that the bezel and just some of the broader features of this watch are kind of Omega Seamaster-esque. I'll actually pull up my Omega Seamaster 300 Professional with their ceramic wave dial and show you guys this watch side by side. You can see that both just have that really nice scalloped bezel, and you know, in broad strokes, kind of similar dial layout with the handset and indexes, but obviously there are distinct differences. Even the crown and crown guards are slightly similar, although the dimensions and overall spec of the Swiss watch company Diver is a little bit bigger overall. Now, it is really impressive all the features you're getting in the Swiss watch company Diver for a watch that comes in about 10 times less in most cases than the Seamaster here on my right. Another comparison I like to do just to show you guys some of the amazing dive features of this watch is to do a side-by-side loom shot comparison, because the Swiss watch company Diver just has fantastic loom, as does the Omega Seamaster. But if you're comparing these two head-to-head, and I'll show you this in a low light scenario, I do think that the Swiss watch company Diver does pull away, both with respect to the potency of a loom and the longevity. Now, on their website, the Swiss watch company does indicate that they actually apply 20 layers of Swiss Superluminova to all of the indexes as well as the hand stack, which is amazing considering a lot of Swiss watch companies in the budget tier will only do a couple of applications of Luminova. Now, the overall finishing of this watch is really good for the price as well. By and large, you kind of have like a satin finish on the side of the case here, with the exception of some polished highlights on the crown itself. Then you do have a nice polished bevel along the side that transition into some nice brushing on the hood of the lugs on the top here. And that brushing matches the same pattern that they use on the bracelet. Now, getting into the bracelet, it's a very nice and kind of unique design. You can see that the center link kind of stands a little bit raised compared to the side links here. Now, these do come together as one piece, and I do like the polishing that they did near the edges of the center link that's there. Now, holding these links together, they used a pin and collar system, which I'm totally fine with. I do find it takes a little longer to size that though, compared to if they use screw links, but it's very secure. And then we get to the clasp for this Swiss watch company Diver, which is kind of a mixed bag if I'm being honest. In certain regards, it does address a lot of the issues that the first iteration of this diver had. When this watch was originally released, it just had a very thin fold-over clasp, and there was no room for micro adjustment. So with this one, you're definitely getting a more substantial clasp, and you do have the push ratcheting extension here. And then if I'm not mistaken, there's also 2 micro adjust holes here. And when you bought this watch, this was actually pushed into that first position here, and that forced the bracelet to stay rigid and it didn't really articulate here. But as soon as I pushed it out here, all of a sudden now it folds over really well this way. And aside from that first end link here, the bracelet does fold over fairly well. You do have the etched in Swiss Watch Company logo here. And then opening it up, you do get nice milled out parts here for the swing arm. Now, you do note that there are solid end links here. And then I'm very impressed by this oil press case back. It's one of the most intricate case backs I've seen at this price point. I didn't realize this at first, but they individually number them. So I have 120 of 999. And then you can see that the case back itself is screwed in, aiding in the 300 meters of water resistant. And then, of course, you just have some other information written along the sides there. So here's our quick wrist shot for you guys of the Swiss Watch Company Diver on my 19 centimeter circumference wrist, or about 7.5 inches. Now, flipping it over, you can see just how long that clasp is. I actually measured it with my calipers, and it comes in at around 48 millimeters from tip to tip. So that's about almost the same length as the head of the watch itself. Now, on one hand, this does counterbalance the weight of the head of the watch quite nicely, but on the other, if you don't like a large clasp, this might just give you some comfort problems. Okay, so before I wrap up this video, are there any negative aspects for this watch? I mean, the only thing I can really knock it for are just a couple of personal preferences. I do think that the crown, it's just a little undersized, or the crown guards are just a little too large. For my fingers, it's sometimes hard to rethread this crown. And the only other gripes I have come with the bracelet. I mean, one, I do wish that the end links here didn't flare out that much. I wish they articulated a little bit more. Additionally, just to the nature of how they fit this bracelet to the lugs, you can't actually get a straight end link to replace it. So if you wanted to replace the bracelet with like shark mesh or something, it's very challenging. But if you use bent spring bars, you can easily fit NATOs through here, or you can put it on a strap of your choice. And in fact, I've done that already. And on a strap, this watch is extremely sharp. So overall, for the summer of 2020, currently this is one of my favorite budget Swiss dive watches out there that's been released. And I do find that this watch is very wearable, giving you a lot of wrist presence and great legibility just with that beautiful sapphire crystal and the insane Loom application. But as always, guys, I'd love to see your feedback in the comments of this video. So that'll about wrap up this video, and as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.